Peter Pologojowitz isn't your everyday vampire. He's the godfather of real-world vampire horror. Emerging from the eerie 18th-century village of Kisilova, modern-day Serbia, this man terrified an entire town after he was dead. Allegedly, just days after his burial in 1725, locals claimed he returned from the grave, visiting his son and several villagers at night, who mysteriously died shortly after. When his grave was opened, the villagers found his body freakishly preserved, rosy cheeks, grown nails and hair, and fresh blood dripping from his mouth. Unlike fictional vampires who wear suits and seduce mortals, Peter was raw, primal, and absolutely terrifying. No capes, no castles, just undead vengeance and a craving for blood. His case inspired centuries of vampire mythology, influencing everything from Dracula to modern-day horror. Katherine Pierce, born Katerina Petrova, is arguably the most manipulative and seductive vampire in the Vampire Diaries universe. Turned in the 15th century and running ever since, Katherine perfected the art of survival through lies, betrayal, and bloodshed. Katherine is the ultimate narcissist. She fakes deaths, ditches loyalty like old clothes, and has no problem stabbing friends, lovers to stay alive. She's the reason half the chaos in Mystic Falls even began using people like pawns and turning brother against brother with her twisted love triangle involving Stefan and Stefan Salvatore. Even death couldn't keep her away. She clawed her way back from hell, possessed Elena's body, and almost ruled again. Unlike tragic vampires with tortured souls, Katherine embraced the darkness. She chose to be evil, to survive no matter the cost. Edward Cullen, the glittering vampire from Twilight, isn't your traditional villain, but let's not ignore the dark side beneath the golden eyes and brooding silence. Turned in 1918 during the Spanish flu by Carlyle Cullen, Edward is over 100 years old, stuck in a 17-year-old body, and let's face it, obsessed with a teenage girl he can't stop stalking. Edward may resist human blood, but his inner monster is always lurking. He rips apart vampires like tissue paper, races through forests like a ghost, and sparkles under sunlight like some immortal disco ball. Edward might be the good guy of the saga, but when you strip away the romance and piano playing, he's a vampire with a dark past, overprotective instincts, and a seriously complicated moral compass. Dr. Michael Morbius, better known as Morbius, the living vampire, is Marvel's tragic attempt at curing disease turned into a nightmare with fangs. A brilliant biochemist suffering from a rare blood disorder, Morbius sought salvation through science, but what he created was a curse. After experimenting with bat DNA, he transformed into a pseudo-vampire. Unlike traditional vampires, Morbius isn't undead, he's scientifically cursed, with powers that rival Spider-Man himself. He can fly, heal fast, see in the dark, and rip through enemies with feral claws. But the real horror? He can't resist the hunger. Morbius constantly walks the razor-thin line between hero and monster, trying to do good while occasionally draining people dry of blood. He wants to save people, but his bloodlust says otherwise. Hunted by the law, feared by civilians, and misunderstood by heroes, Morbius is the embodiment of a science experiment gone rogue. Mikaelson, the original vampire from the Vampire Diaries in the originals, may dress in suits and speak like royalty, but don't be fooled, beneath that gentleman facade lies a predator with centuries of blood on his hands. Elijah is part of the first and deadliest vampire bloodline in existence. He doesn't need to yell or rage. His calm presence alone is enough to silence a room. He operates by a strict personal code of honor, but when you look closely, that honor is often just a mask for cold, calculated brutality, which he manages to hide seamlessly behind his red door. Whether it's ripping out hearts mid-sentence or executing centuries-old vendettas, Elijah does what needs to be done, no matter how ruthless. He's betrayed lovers, murdered friends, and caused centuries of chaos, all while pretending to be the better Mikaelson. Stylish, savage, and chillingly composed, Mikaelson is the kind of monster who would offer you a handkerchief after ripping out your heart. Carmilla, the original queen of vampire seduction and psychological horror. Emerging from Sheridan Le Fanu's novella, Carmilla wasn't just a monster, she was a masterpiece of dread, a beautiful, aristocratic predator who fed on young women. She isolates her victims, gaslights them with affection, and drains their life slowly, physically, and emotionally. Whether in the Gothic novella, anime-style Castlevania, or countless adaptations, Carmilla is always the same, poised, elegant, and vicious beneath the lace. She believes the world belongs to predators like herond humans, just livestock. Carmilla isn't just a villain, she's a revolution in fangs. Stylish, calculating, and unapologetically cruel, she redefined vampirism with class and cruelty. Arnold Paole is one of the earliest real-life vampire legends, and quite possibly the reason the vampire myth exploded across Europe. A former soldier who claimed to have been attacked by a vampire during war, Arnold returned to his village and lived quietly until his sudden death. Soon after his burial, villagers reported seeing him stalking the night. Pale and bloodthirsty, people started dying mysteriously, animals were drained of blood, and panic gripped the town. When the body was exhumed, it showed no signs of decay, fresh blood around the mouth, and a creepy smirk that screamed undead. He was staked, decapitated, decapitated and burned, but the terror didn't end. Those he fed on started rising too, turning the whole village into a horror story. Unlike the suave vampires of today, Arnold was pure nightmare, fuselent, relentless, and spreading like a virus. He wasn't trying to seduce anyone, he just wanted blood. Stefan Salvatore from the Vampire Diaries is one of the darkest monsters in disguise. The so-called good brother hides a terrifying alter ego known as the Ripper, a bloodthirsty beast who doesn't just kill, he rips his victims apart and arranges their bodies like trophies. His morality is a tightrope constantly snapping. While Damon kills with style, Stefan kills with shame and then pretends to be the hero. He breaks up with Elena for her safety, then goes on blood binges and tears apart cities. Manipulated by Klaus, enslaved by bloodlust, and haunted by his past, Stefan is the ultimate contradiction, part savior, part monster. He's the vampire who wants to be human but can't stop tasting blood, and when he flips the switch, there's no stopping him. No guilt, no mercy, just carnage in a well-tailored jacket. Stefan Salvatore isn't just a hero with flaws. He's a villain wearing a mask of grief, and when that mask slips, even the devil runs.